In this video, we're going to be looking at some of the best theories about the Black Panther sequel, which will be hitting theaters around the world in MCU Phase 4. 2018's Black Panther was incredibly successful, so Black Panther 2 is one highly anticipated movie. One theory suggests a connection between Wakanda and a certain Infinity Stone, others predict the appearance of some classic Marvel villains, and the extremely popular Shuri certainly features heavily. Make sure you stick around to find out more. A large number of MCU fans had theorized that 2018's Black Panther movie would reveal that Wakanda was the home of the Soul Stone. Well, that didn't turn out to be true, and later that year, Avengers Infinity War revealed the mysterious artifact was actually on the barren planet Vormir, being guarded by none other than the Red Skull, who had been missing for more than 70 years following the events of Captain America: The First Avenger. But there's a theory that Black Panther 2 will reveal that there is indeed a connection between Wakanda and the Soul Stone, in the form of the huge vibranium meteorite that crash-landed there 2.5 million years ago. You see, the theory suggests the meteorite was actually a chunk of the planet Vormir, and that it contained residual energy from the Soul Stone. It would certainly provide an adequate explanation as to why Wakandans can speak with their deceased relatives on the ancestral plane. Another Infinity Stone that could come into play in Black Panther 2, in spite of the fact that it no longer exists in the main MCU timeline, is the Mind Stone, and that's because Shuri might recreate it. You may remember that in Avengers Infinity War, Letitia Wright's character studied Vision in an attempt to remove the powerful object from his forehead and save him from being targeted by Thanos and the Black Order. Unfortunately, she was interrupted by the attacking Corvus Glaive before she could finish, but we do know she'd undertaken a detailed mapping of Vision by that point. With that in mind, given that she has all the information that comprised the Mind Stone, there's every chance a genius like Shuri could recreate it. Knowing how useful it could be when it comes to creating her technology, she could create a synthetic version of the Infinity Stone and use it going forward to create things like artificial intelligence. Shuri was already an incredibly useful member of Wakandan society, having created everything from the most recent Black Panther suits to the maglev train that's used for both public transportation in the Golden City and for carrying vibranium at high speed inside the Great Mound. So just imagine what she could create with a version of the Mind Stone at her disposal. Bearing in mind what we've just spoken about regarding her recreating the Mind Stone, it sounds like Shuri could be a very busy woman in the next Black Panther movie. Because there's another theory that she'll also recreate the heart-shaped herb. You may remember in the first Black Panther movie, Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger had every single specimen of the herb destroyed when he temporarily became the king of Wakanda after defeating T'Challa in combat. But based on something Angela Bassett said, Bassett being the actress who played Queen Ramonda in Black Panther, Shuri may have a solution to that problem. Bassett was quoted as saying, "We have no more herb left. My daughter will figure it out." That could of course mean Shuri finds another way to imbue T'Challa with great strength, but the theory certainly suggests she'll simply find a way to make the herb grow again. Possibly because she kept a secret sample in her laboratory, possibly by taking a sample of her brother T'Challa's blood, or possibly another way. Regardless, it's hard to see how the Black Panther legacy could continue without it, because not only does it grant those who ingest it incredible power, it also enables Wakandans to briefly inhabit the ancestral plane. So this theory seems particularly feasible. Black Panther director Ryan Coogler has expressed a very public interest in having Kraven the Hunter as a villain in his MCU movies, but apparently Sony said no, probably because they want to have him as a main villain in a Spider-Man movie. But that doesn't mean Kraven can't appear in a Black Panther movie, period. And there's a theory he'll make his MCU debut in Black Panther 2. You see, there's every chance the character could appear in a mere cameo role, in a similar fashion to how Ulysses Klaue was introduced in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron, before making a more prominent appearance in the first Black Panther offering. Kraven is an awesome character whose shtick is that he's a maniacal big game hunter who intends to defeat Spider-Man to prove he's the greatest hunter in the world. Given Wakanda's location in Africa, it would make sense to introduce him as someone trying to hunt Wakanda's wildlife, which would obviously irritate the likes of T'Challa and set Kraven up as a bad guy in the franchise. It would also be a great way to get excitement levels high for the third Spider-Man movie, as it would confirm the fact that Kraven, a character fans have wanted to see go up against the Webbed Wonder in live action for years, would indeed be doing that at long last. One character who some fans have theorized will have a bigger antagonistic role than Kraven in Black Panther 2 is Namor the Sub-Mariner. Namor is, of course, one of Marvel's oldest characters, and a character who fans have wanted in the MCU for some time. His movie rights have always been something of a complication, with confusion over exactly where they lie. Namor is an Atlantean human-mutant hybrid who is essentially Marvel's Aquaman, although it should be noted that he predates the DC character by 2 years. He does, however, hover in that gray area between hero and villain, and that's brought him into conflict with Black Panther on numerous occasions in the comic books. It's believed Okoye talking about earthquakes in the ocean was a hint towards him in Avengers Endgame as well. Namor would be a very welcome addition to the MCU, that is for sure. Alternatively, another prominent MCU character who's been theorized to be the villain in Black Panther 2 is the iconic Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom is quite literally the most recognizable Marvel villain and one of the most well-known villains in all of fiction. He's a bona fide genius who wears a suit of powered high-tech armor that's teeming with gadgets and weapons. With brains and brawn and a penchant for aiming very high in terms of the power scale when it comes to his elaborate schemes, he'd be a more than worthy foe for Black Panther. His appearance in the Black Panther sequel could set him up as the new big bad for the entire MCU going forward. He's been depicted in movies before, of course, most notably in the two Fantastic Four movies in 2005 and 2007 respectively, and the 2015 Fantastic Four reboot. But the character was never done justice. Marvel Studios have become known for getting their villains right in recent years, and it would be great to see them giving us a live-action version of Doom who's worthy of the name. When we were first introduced to M'Baku in the first Black Panther movie, he was something of a rival to Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa. As the leader of the Jabari tribe, he and his people shunned the rest of Wakanda, choosing to live away from mainstream society. He even challenged T'Challa for the Wakandan throne, fighting him at Warrior Falls, but ultimately lost the fight when he yielded to the king. Having gained more respect for T'Challa, he then helped him to recover after his fight with Killmonger, joined him in the battle against Thanos' armies at the Battle of Wakanda in Avengers Infinity War, then again in the Battle of Earth in Avengers Endgame. But there's a theory that Winston Duke's character could turn against him in Black Panther 2, becoming a villain of sorts once again. In Marvel's comic books, M'Baku is actually a supervillain who goes by the name Man-Ape, and while that name is very unlikely to be used in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, given its unfortunate negative racial connotations, the fact that there's a precedent for M'Baku being an outright bad guy makes this theory more than plausible. It would actually be a shame though, because rooting for Winston Duke is something we've all become accustomed to. The deal that saw Disney buying Fox was finally completed this year after months of speculation, and that means the Marvel characters owned by the latter are now fair game for Marvel Studios to use in the MCU. Those characters, of course, include the X-Men, and it's fair to say they'll appear sooner or later in Marvel's flagship movie franchise. Rather than suddenly flooding the MCU with mutants in an X-Men movie, Marvel Studios might opt to use the drip method, systematically introducing them one by one in various other installments of the franchise. That could be the case with Storm, as there's a theory that she'll make her MCU debut in Black Panther 2. You see, in the comic books, the character, whose real name is Ororo Monroe, is a love interest of T'Challa. In fact, she even became the queen consort of Wakanda, having married him. This is undoubtedly one of the more exciting theories in this video, as the X-Men's arrival in the MCU is something superhero movie fans have been waiting for a long time. And Storm's arrival would be a sign of intent to introduce the likes of Wolverine, Professor X, and Cyclops going forward. Shuri's had a lot of attention already in this video, but this particular theory about her is by far the most important one, and it's the theory that she'll actually become the new Black Panther in the Black Panther sequel. If you weren't already aware, this has actually happened in the comic books. After T'Challa was left recovering from critical injuries that he sustained in battle, Shuri was tested and found suitable to take over his roles as Black Panther and ruler of Wakanda. She became skilled in martial arts, had access to extensive advanced technologies and wealth, and even learned to shapeshift. Letitia Wright's version of the character is incredibly popular, and if anyone is going to take over Chadwick Boseman as the titular character in the Black Panther movies, MCU fans would be happy to know it was her. Either way, we're here for it, and if the MCU wants more headlining female heroes, what better way to do so than this? Black Panther was was a fantastic movie, so it says a lot about Killmonger that he was seen as being one of the best things about it. It was actually disappointing to see Killmonger die at the end of Black Panther, but there's a theory he'll return in the movie's sequel. Don't worry though, it won't make his emotional death any less meaningful or poignant because the theory doesn't have him being brought back to life. It has him residing on the ancestral plane. It would be fitting for Michael B. Jordan's character to spend his afterlife amongst his true ancestors, and an appropriate way for fans of him to see him again. It would be cool if T'Challa visited the ancestral plane and sought the advice of Killmonger regarding how to defeat a new enemy. It would show that he respected him and give Killmonger even more worth and validity than he already has in the franchise. We'd love to see it happen. Did these theories about the Black Panther sequel get you excited? Do you have any of your own? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos like this one. Thanks for watching. Wakanda forever!